you feel it? Jesus releasing destinies. This is Celebration TV.
Welcome to News Desk on Celebration TV. I am Comfort James.
And I'm Femi Mark.
And the news making the rounds.
Please stay with us as we bring you details.
Watch robust, objective, analytical, informative, educative, entertaining and inspiring news on Celebration TV News Desk.
Every weekday, 11 a.m. GMT +1. That is 11 a.m. GMT +1 on Mondays through Fridays.
You are welcome to Sports Corner. I am Ivan Agafe.
Celebration TV News Desk. The whole truth.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State governor.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2019.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State governor, Ibikunle Amosu.
You're welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I am Nicholas Akosile Walter. Now, news making the headlines. And SARS. Enough of this long-term affliction, Edo North youths cry out. Accept peace deal, EU tells Mozambique opposition. US election 2020, Trump and Biden feud over debate topics. Banks to commence BVN registration for 774,000 SPW jobs. Mueller's form fuels calls for Germany recall. Please stay with us as we bring you details of our news after the short break. Welcome back and thanks for joining us once more. Enough of this long-term affliction, Edo North youth cries out. Every state in Nigeria has decided not to be quiet about them security, harassment and brutality and all the vices on the rampart in the country. Meanwhile, this is a clear indication that the country is currently going through a reformation phase as the youth took to the street for peaceful protest, not excluding the Auchi community in Edo State, Nigeria. While the protest was going on in Auchi, the youths were seen with different placards indicating end SARS, end SWAT, and police brutality. They are requesting that government grant their heart cry.
Yes, we are the Nigerian youths who have come out to say no to bad governance. The country has been mimed of so much. Slavery has been taken in this country by the old men. They take us youth as a slave. They steal our resources that we used to do for education, for roads and everything. Money was swallowed in the Federal Capital Territory. Snake and monkey took our billions. 600 billion was dropped for COVID-19 palliative. I didn't get an Indomie, I didn't get a rice. But just in a protest in Lagos, 25 million, and we were well fed. Now we have come outside and we want to rule this country ourselves. Buhari resign. end SARS, end SWAT, reform Nigeria, good roads, bad road government. We want electricity, we want power, we want development. Our children want to grow, restructure Nigeria. This is what we want. Our fathers are suffering. We say no to bad government. Reform Nigeria, reform Nigeria, reform Nigeria. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. We shall always fight for Soli.
The Special Anti-Robbery Squad, which was found guilty of extrajudicial killings, extortion, torture, framing and blackmail, was disbanded, and the government set up a new unit called the Special Weapon and Tactics Unit SWAT. With the continuous protest, the youth seek to also end SWAT. However, Celebration TV team gathered that youths are crying out to the government not just because they want to end SARS and SWAT, but to have a total restructuring of governance in the country.
By the grace of God, we want a better Nigeria. We have been protesting about end SARS, and I think that is not enough. What I think is this: the country needs to be renovated. There is a lot of problem. Like I said, my grandfather has been suffering. My grandfather fought war for this country. My father fought to make this country better. I'm still suffering. We are suffering. I don't want my children to suffer. Listen to me. We need to reform the police. If you increase police salary, they're not going to see boys for no begin beat boys. If constable they receive 150,000 a month, nothing will happen. Senators 29-point-something million every month for doing nothing, and at the end we are suffering. End the suffering in Nigeria. Renovate this country. Renovate this country. Renovate this country.
Meanwhile, this peaceful protest cut across the entire North Central zone, which include Auchi, Akoko-Edo, and Owan. Moving forward quickly, Lagos directs closure of public-private schools. The Lagos State government has directed all pupils, students in public and private schools to stay at home following the tension generated by the anti-SARS protest. The Commissioner for Education, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo, who issued the directive, said the safety of pupils and students, parents and all of staff working in schools was paramount at this crucial period. A statement signed by Head Public Affairs Minister of Education, Kayode Abayomi, quoted the Commissioner as advising parents to keep an eye on their words and not allow them to be used as willing tools in the hands of those who might want to hijack the protest to unleash mayhem on the society. The Commissioner also encouraged schools to utilize other means of distance teaching and learning, among others, radio, television, and online media, as they had been doing during the the recent COVID-19 lockdown. According to Adefisayo, a new date of resumption for all classes will be announced as soon as possible. Quickly, in another development, PTF warns against traveling to US, UK, France, and others. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has warned end SARS protesters against contracting and spreading the virus while gathering to protest against the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Nigerian Police Force. It also called on Nigerians to take precautions while traveling or planning to receive travelers from the United States of America, United Kingdom, India, Russia, and France. The calls were made at the PTF's media briefing in Abuja. The national coordinator of the PTF, Dr. Sani Aliyu, while answering a question on the protest, said on the impact of what has been going on and incidents of having new COVID-19 infections in the country, they are monitoring the situation in terms of testing closely. The task force chairman and secretary of government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, also corroborated Aliyu's position. The SGF, who urged the end SARS protesters to hearken to the invitation to dialogue, emphasizing that non-compliance with the non-pharmaceutical protocols were risky adventures that must be avoided. Mustafa also noted that the global cases of COVID-19 rose by a record 400,000 cases on October 16, with 43% of all the cases occurring in Europe, especially in the UK and France. Coming quickly from around Africa, accept peace deal, EU tells Mozambique opposition. The European Union has said that a peace agreement signed last year in Mozambique cannot be renegotiated. In recent months, calls has grown to revisit the deal signed in August 2019 between the government and the Renamo rebel group. In the agreement, Renamo agreed to renounce rebellion, but a splinter group has been staging attacks in central Mozambique. Renamo leader Usolfo Momade lost last October's vote to incumbent President Felipe Nyusi. The ruling Frelimo party was accused of using violence to win the election. The European Union is one of the guarantors of the deal and has committed millions of dollars to support its implementation. Mozambique, which is preparing to become the newest gas producer, is also dealing with a military or a militant insurgency which has driven hundreds from their homes in its north. Still around Africa, Guinea's opposition leader declares election win. Guinea's opposition leader, Ncelo Diallo, has declared himself winner of Sunday's presidential election ahead of the official announcement of results. Mr. Diallo told journalists and his supporters that he had won the first round despite anomalies. The Electoral Commission said vote counting was still ongoing and that it was the only body mandated to announce the winner. Mr. Diallo's supporters who had taken to the streets to celebrate were dispersed by police. He later tweeted that 3 people had been killed and several others injured by the police. Guineans had protested for months following the decision by President Alpha Condé to run for a 3rd term. Results of the 10th elections are expected by Wednesday, after which candidates have 8 days to appeal. Presidential candidates need more than 50% of the vote for an outright victory, or there will be a second round on the 24th of November. We'll go on a short break. We'll come back, we'll bring you updates from the United States of America. Stay with us.
Has come for the gathering of sons to get recharged and revitalized.
The church that cannot be despised is a church of testimonies.
An outburst of revival.
Shagada. There's a revival! Let's take it.
International Ministers Conference, October edition.
Testimonies are the trademark of God's mandate.
Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman, 28th through 30th October 2020. Ministers without blemish. Time 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. GMT+1. Happening live at the International Worship Center, Omega Fire Ministries, Kilometer 132, Benin Okene Abuja Expressway, Auchi, Edo State, Nigeria. For inquiries, please call Ministers without blemish. Prepare for your next level.
Welcome back. Now updates from the United States of America. U.S. election 2020, Trump and Biden feud over debate topics. U.S. President Donald Trump and his White House challenger Joe Biden are feuding over plans for their final TV debate. The Republican president's campaign accused organizers of Thursday's showdown of helping the Democrats by leaving out foreign policy as a topic. The Biden camp shot back that Mr. Trump was trying to avoid questions about his response to the coronavirus pandemic. With 2 weeks to go until the election, Mr. Biden is said to have a commanding lead nationally in opinion polls. However, he has a smaller lead in a handful of key U.S. states that will ultimately decide the outcome. The president's camp sent a letter to the Commission on Presidential Debates calling for topics to be adjusted for the final primetime duel this Thursday. Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien said in the letter that the campaigns had already agreed foreign policies would be the focus of a third debate. The topics were announced by moderator and Christine Walker last week: American families, race in America, climate change, national security, and leadership. More updates from United Kingdom. Deadline approaches for Manchester coronavirus deal. Greater Manchester leaders have been given a deadline to reach a deal with the government over moving to Tier 3 COVID restrictions. If a deal is not reached, Community Secretary Robert Jenrick said the Prime Minister would decide on the next steps. Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Bonham said the region was seeking a fair figure of support from the government. Mr. Bonham said he would be meeting with local leaders and would advise them to set out the request in a letter to the government. The government and local leaders, including mayors and members of parliament, have been embroiled in 10 days of talks over tighter rules for Greater Manchester's 2.8 million population. The very high alert level, also known as Tier 3, would mean closing pubs and bars which do not serve meals, and additional restrictions on household mixing. And now we'll go straight to business news. Banks to commence BVN registrations for 774,000 SPW jobs. Heritage Bank PLC has said it is set to commence the account opening with bank verification number for the marked 774,000 participants of the Special Public Works Program in their branches throughout the 774 local government areas. The bank said this in a statement titled Heritage Bank to Engage 774,000 Jobs Special Public Works Program November 1st. It said the participants were to be paid an allowance of 20,000 naira only monthly, and the program was to kick off from November 1st, 2020, and a total of 129 local government areas had been assigned to Heritage Bank PLC. The bank said the SPW was a post-COVID-19 poverty alleviation initiative approved by the federal government and Federal Ministry of State for Labor and Employment to implement 774,000 jobs in all the 774 local government areas in Nigeria for a period of 3 months. As part of the modalities of the program, he said the 6 participating banks had been mandated to open accounts for all the beneficiaries and capture their BVNs. It added that a special feature form had been provided by the federal government to capture participants' biodata for the exercise. In a bid to align with the rudimentary arrangements, the divisional head corporate communications Fela Ibidapo disclosed that Heritage Bank had prepared seamless process flow for the commencement of the BVN enrollment, account opening documentation of the assigned shortlisted beneficiaries. And still on business news, quickly, federal government begins 75 billion naira support fund disbursement this week. Beginning from this week, the federal government will start paying grants to micro, small and medium enterprises that are successful to partake in the 75 billion COVID-19 support schemes. On September 10, 2020, the federal government inaugurated two schemes to financially support about 1.7 million MSMEs across the countries with 75 billion naira. The schemes are the National MSME Survival Fund and the Guaranteed Offtake Stimulus Scheme under the Nigerian Economic Sustainability Plan. The Special Assistant to the President on MSME's Office of the Vice President, who doubles as Project Coordinator, Survival Fund Scheme, Tola Adekunle said in Abuja, the payments to some beneficiaries of schemes will start this week. He explained that payroll support, which was categorized under the Survival Fund, targets business that employ between 10 and 50 people. Adekunle said the portal was shut on October 15 but noted that a number of states had not met their quotas and these had created room for an extension. He said the number of states that had met the quotas were slightly below 20 in number, adding that this led to the strong demand for an extension. We'll go on a short break. We'll come back. We'll bring you news from the sporting world.
Is over. You can now connect to Celebration TV's official website www.mycelebrationtv.com. Specially designed for your satisfaction, you get to access a lineup of inclusive contents and programs of Celebration TV. Get the latest updates and news stories from our news desk. Be kept abreast on infos about all outreaches and events of the Resurrection Apostle Johnson and Dr. Lizzie Suleiman. Watch Celebration TV on the go via our 24/7 live streaming service. With all these and more, we'll make your partnership with us as we take the gospel around the world way easier with just a click. Hurry now. Visit www.mycelebrationtv.com.
You welcome sports news. Mueller forms fuse call for Germany recall. Thomas Mueller come further few appeals for him to be recalled by Germany when Bayern Munich launched their Champions League defense at home to Atletico Madrid behind closed doors. Having managed a record 21 assists in the Bundesliga last season, Mueller has continued his sparkling form by scoring 5 goals and creating 4 more so far in 2020-2021. The 31-year-old netted twice in a 4-1 win at Arminia Bielefeld last Saturday when Robert Lewandowski also grabbed 2 goals for Bayern. His latest eye-catching club performance has prompted fresh hopes of a Germany recall for Müller, who was dropped by Joachim Löw from the national setup in 2019 alongside Jerome Boateng and Mats Hummels. Now Bastian Schweinsteiger has then joined fellow former Bayern and Germany players Didi Hamann and Lothar Matthias in calling for Müller to be reinstated. Last month, Müller became the most successful German footballer of all time, surpassing Schweinsteiger's record of 26 titles when Bayern won the German Super Cup as they lifted a trophy for the 27th time in his career. In another sports news, quickly, Guardiola challenges Aguero to end new Man City deal. Pep Guardiola says Sergio Aguero must end a new contract at Manchester City, even though he is the club's all-time record goal scorer. Aguero, who returned from a 4-month spell out with injury in Saturday's 1-0 win over Arsenal, has entered the last 12 months of his existing deal. The Argentine has scored 254 goals for City and been a major part of 4 Premier League title triumphs, including his famous last gasp winner in 2012. However, Guardiola, who is also in the final season of his deal, believes the 32-year-old needs to prove his fitness and form in the coming months. Aguero played a key role in City's goals against Arsenal, driving forward to feed Phil Foden, with Raheem Sterling finishing after Ben Leno could only parry and midfielder shot. But he was also involved in a moment of controversy in the second half when he put his arm on the shoulder of assistant referee Sian Marseille Elise. The image provoked a wave of criticism of the striker, but Guardiola defended his players' actions. And that's brought us to the end of the news on Celebration Television News Desk. In case you're just joining us, here's the news headline recap. End SARS. Enough of this long-term affliction, and do not youth cry out. Accept peace deal, EU tells Mozambique opposition. US election 2020, Trump and Biden feud over debate topics. Banks to commence BVN restoration for 774,000 SPW jobs. And Mueller's firm fuels calls for Germany recall. Quickly, we have photo of the day. Did you see that the 2 images? It speaks of knowing if you are a thinker or a doer. That's a best question for you to answer. Now you could drop your comment on a social media platform. On Facebook, we have Celebration TV, Instagram, My Celebration TV, Twitter at My Celebration TV, and YouTube, Celebration TV. Always remember that the continuous transformation of our society is a collective responsibility of all. No matter the office you hold as a nation's president, a thought leader, an opinion molder, a character builder, a professional, or as a person pursuing passion, you have a duty to give your all to making the society a better place for us and the generations to come. Play your part today and do it with all diligence. Thanks once again for staying with us on our news desk. I remain Nicholas Akosile Walter. Bless you. To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun